All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Melbourne studios here on the Brevard Sports Network. Tonight, we're decked out in, I guess, what you would call a baby blue. What's not baby, Coach? Is there a color blue that's called
It's a teal.
teal? Gotcha.
T-I-E-L,
Teal.
yeah.
Yeah, teal blue. We're decked out in teal blue, and we've got our 2020-21 Girls Soccer Coach of the Year here in Brevard County, and he hails from the Bayside Bears, Mr. Antoine Van Meir. Coach, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great, Alan. Pleasure to be here.
All right, Coach. Let's talk a little bit about your team this year. We were talking a little bit before we came on, and I apologize for not being able to get down there and broadcast any Bayside Bears girls varsity soccer games. You guys just down there at the south end of the county, you just take care of business. 16-2-2 this year. Tell us about your team, Coach.
Just really a great group of athletes. They just play for each other. They want to win. They have something I think is unteachable. They have grit. Yeah, it's just that meaningful play to never let themselves down, let alone their team down. So I would attribute that to what we are.
Now, you're 9 years there, and there you see the ladies on the screen in a big win against Okeechobee in the playoffs there. Coach, year in and year out, you play these teams like the traditional powers, the former state champs here. You seem to really handle your business when it came to them this year, for sure, tying Madison Ireland, tying Satellite, and getting big wins over teams like West Shore. Talk about, individually speaking, some of the girls that stood out on the team this year.
Individually speaking, there's a lot of girls that went through every game and made adjustments and had private conversations with me before the game on where they think they would be best suited instead of their normal standout role,
Gotcha.
Especially in those big games. Bella Fontanez, comes to mind. She's usually one of my two main forwards, and she wanted to sit in on those big games and try to control the middle. And she's short. She's only 5'1", and she just really took over. It was unbelievable. Those changes, most of the wins came through changes made by the players, bringing that to my attention that this is going to work better. Well, when they believe in themselves, I believe in them.
You look at your team, and I'm looking at your roster right now, and we're here with the Girls Soccer Coach of the Year, Antoine Van Meir from Bayside High School. Coach, I'm looking at your roster, and you've got a ton of talent returning.
Absolutely. The core that joined us as freshmen 3 years ago are going to be seniors next year, and they're hungry. They're all returning, and they are ready to play.
29 wins over the past 2 seasons. And, it looks like more defensively speaking, Coach, 13 clean sheets this year, 12 of them resulted in victories on the defensive side of the equation. I'm looking at Jayden here with 1,311 minutes in goal. She only allowed 12 goals all year. What'd you like about the way your team played defense this year?
I think the 4 main defensive backs and our holding mid just really pulled together and disallowed so many opportunities from the opposing teams that it allowed Jayden just to focus on the key saves instead of having to focus on a barrage of shots to defend.
Mike Moffitt comments, such a great coach and a really good guy. Was there a game this year? Obviously, Coach, I got to ask you, all the other teams on the schedule, tough. Then there's that one hiccup in there against Vieira. What was the deal with that? Was there injuries? What happened there?
We were dealing with a little bit of COVID at the time, and we had to bench 2 players
Gotcha.
just for discipline. And we have to do what's right with our team before the individual. So we stuck to our guns, and we paid the price. But
well, I tell
we
you,
did it for the greater good.
and you bounced back outstanding. I tell you, you said you had to sit a couple players down for the greater good of the team. And when you look at how you bounced back after that loss to Vieira, I mean, it was just simply incredible. 8-0 over Astronaut. You get a big win, 1-0 over Rockledge. You just absolutely rolled from that point. Archbishop McCarthy, and I think the biggest tale of the two seasons from last year to this year to see the improvement, Coach, was last year you go down there and play Archbishop McCarthy. It's a 7-0 loss. This year you only fall to one of the best teams in the state by 2. Talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, so last year, it wasn't really in our plan to really go as far as we did. We kind of talked about winning the district, but not moving too much farther into regionals, which is uncharted territory for our school anyway. And when we saw, an opportunity to go down and beat Sebring down in Boca and then advance again, we were a little overwhelmed by their speed, their talent, just their discipline on the field. And we kind of embraced that after the loss and said, we have to be more like that. We have to be that disciplined team on the field. So at that point, we just kind of, mirrored what our opponent would be.
Yeah, I tell you what, just an outstanding effort all season long. And for those of us that don't, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself here at Brevard Sports Network, soccer in the south end of the county. I just saw a comment from Vieira Hawks head football coach Derek Smith, who just said, outstanding coach, did a terrific job with my daughter. Tell us about soccer down there in the south end of the county.
South end of county soccer has kind of gone away a little bit. The clubs have dried up and been taken over by bigger clubs and moved, away from the south end to more of the central part of the county, the Melbourne and Vieira areas.
Gotcha.
So it's really hard to draw a lot of talent from players that have been playing in clubs. Typically, in our school, we have 1 or 2 that have played the game in a club, and the rest we have to teach.
Wow.
So when you were talking about this core group coming back next year, believe me, I realize it's a luxury. And, it's funny to be chosen, as coach of the year, which I appreciate. But, during the tougher years when you're with no talent or little talent and you're doing the most with what you can, it just helps you feel better about your wins when you do get them with the talent that you have.
I know exactly what you mean. And speaking of the aforementioned Derek Smith, who's on, he won our football coach of the year based off of just that principle right there. It wasn't the amount of wins he had. It was how. So I totally hear you when you say, and shame on us for that. Shame on, us sports guys for that, because truly you're right. To be able to recognize a coaching job in years, maybe when you don't win 16 out of your 20 contests, we should look a little deeper into it. Well, Coach, it's again, congratulations. Girls soccer in Brevard County, all the way across the county as a whole, is impressive. As a guy that's been around it for quite some time, have you seen this sport grow exponentially in the last 9-10 years?
When you speak about Derek Smith, I was introduced to him and brought over to a club where he was coaching, and that's how I met him. And that's where I really realized the potential of growth for women's soccer in this area, especially in the southern end. I realized those players were being pulled from the south to the north.
Right.
And I had a lot of fun with Coach Smith, and he introduced me to Mike Moffitt, who is just a great guy. He helps me so much with uniforms and apparel and equipment. He's just unbelievable with the work he does. But he's another one that's very aware of the growth in women's soccer, especially in high school. And, he provides a lot of insight and helped me realize the growth that's in the area as well. It's still here. It's still growing. It's much easier to get girls into colleges that, want to play soccer, especially, than it is boys. And that I don't know the reason for it other than the talent.
Yeah, I got a little. When you watch the girls and the guys play, I tell you, it's in terms of when you're comparing apples to apples, with the girls, sure. And this is not a knock against the guys. The guys are outstanding soccer players,
Absolutely.
but the girls, man, the skill level, and it just really seems like a more fundamentally sound game comparing the two. Now, this is coming from a guy that hasn't gotten into, that just recently got into it within the last 3-4 years of learning the game, learning how to call the game, learning the players and watching it. So that's an outside observation for sure. Well, Coach, I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy evening to come on here. And once again, congratulations on capturing the 2020-2021 Brevard County Girls Soccer Coach of the Year.
Thank you very much, Alan. A pleasure to be with you tonight.
Yes, sir. For Antoine Van Meir, I'm Alan Slaughterzinski for the Brevard Sports Network. Have a great night, everybody.